honest, getting older doesn't automatically make you emotionally mature. You can be 30, 40, 50, heck, you can even be 60 and still struggle to communicate effectively as a mature adult or as a grown-up. You can even struggle to take accountability for your own actions, or if somebody corrects you, that can actually be a trigger, or you can even just struggle with hearing other people's point of view. And sometimes being emotionally immature looks like struggling to set boundaries with people, struggling with regulating your emotions, that every little thing is enough to just send you off the roof. Because sometimes you talk about, oh, I'm successful, I'm confident, I have a good career, right? But when you lack emotional intelligence, it affects everything that you hold up high. Because you can simply have your life together on the outside, but simply still struggling emotionally. You can be a grown adult and still struggle with being held accountable. And the important thing is, emotional immaturity doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means there are certain areas of your emotional development that you are still struggling with or that have not actually been met. And today we're going to talk about that. Hi guys, my name is Primrose. If you're new here, hi, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I focus on everything mental health, mindset, faith, and everything about becoming the best version of yourself. If you like this channel, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So let's get into the video. Today we're going to talk about 5 signs that shows that you're emotionally immature and what you can do to grow from that. Number 1, as I've mentioned before, if you're emotionally immature, you are somebody that struggles to take accountability. And I can attest to this because I am somebody that used to just struggle with actually seeing myself in the mirror and calling bullshit where bullshit is supposed to be called. And one of the things that I used to struggle with was being accountable and actually identifying the areas that I needed to grow, right? And one of the biggest signs of emotional immaturity is constantly trying to find someone else to blame for your own actions. So for example, something goes wrong, you immediately think, oh, it wasn't my fault because they didn't allow me to do this thing at a certain time. Or you simply say, oh, if he or she had not said that to me, I wouldn't have reacted that way. But being accountable is looking at your own actions and thinking, okay, how could I have reacted better? Because don't get me wrong, people will offend you. People will say things that you don't like. People will even do things that you don't like. But you're responsible with how you react, not how they react. And I know that's easier said than done, because when people try it, automatically we want to be like, listen, you've tried me, I'm here, let's go. But being accountable is taking a step back and thinking, okay, I'm not responsible with how this person is speaking to me. Okay, if you're talking to somebody, you're having a conversation and they're shouting and screaming at you, you need to take a step back and think, okay, I'm not responsible for that reaction. I'm responsible for my reaction. So what am I going to do right now? I'm going to walk away from this situation and I'm going to go back and reflect on what could I have done better in the situation for myself, not for the other person. Now remember, there are situations where genuinely other people are responsible for what they've done to you. And I'm not saying accountability is about blaming yourself for everything. No. It just simply means you're being honest about the part that you played. Sometimes the part that you played is not even a bad, you know. Sometimes you actually went out of your way to try and help someone, and then, you know, you got a reaction that you didn't expect. So from that, what do you learn? Okay, next time, you know what, I'll stay in my lane, and next time I won't go above and beyond for this person. You are accountable for you, and that's where the growth comes in. So for example, maybe you're in a relationship where someone is disrespecting you, but you are accountable for how long you stick around and tolerate that. Because remember, being emotionally mature is able to say that this situation wasn't entirely my fault, but I can see how I could have contributed in that. And that takes a lot of maturity and growth and wisdom. And sometimes you're going to have to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to have to go back and forth with people or with situations, but growth comes from now thinking, you know what? Does this situation need my energy? No. So what am I going to do? I'm going to walk away from it and I'm going to grow from it. So just be accountable. Number 2, you react instead of responding. I am guilty. As much as I'm making this video to you guys, I am still a reactive person. I am still trying to be in my feminine energy. I am still trying not to react because And I think sometimes reacting comes from trauma or from previous experiences where you felt like you needed to overly explain yourself. And when you're emotionally immature, you almost react. You don't even let somebody finish whatever they want to say before you jump in, right? And reacting may look like somebody says something that you don't like, and immediately you respond. You don't even give yourself time to just pause and think, whatever this person has said, is it true? Is it a fact? Or are they projecting? You don't even give yourself time. You're almost like somebody said this, you want to throw the biggest jab back, right? Or it could be somebody doesn't text you back immediately. You immediately think, oh, I don't think this person wants to talk to me. Or you immediately think, is there something wrong? You almost go into overdrive. Or somebody just criticize you and you become defensive. And again, remember what I'm saying, guys. These things that people might do, it doesn't mean they don't hurt. But when you realize that whatever people say and do has got nothing to do with you, you literally regain your power back. And if you learn not to be reactive to everything, you literally get your power back. And remember, being emotionally mature, it doesn't mean that you never get angry. It doesn't mean you never feel hurt. It means that you don't allow every emotion that you feel to simply become a distraction. You know, sometimes you might be a good person or you might be somebody that's quite calm and settled. But feeling something doesn't mean that you have to act on it immediately. And I think all of us will have to learn this, that, you know, sometimes your emotions will flare up. Sometimes we're angry. How many times have you done something or say something and think, why did this person take me there? They didn't. You allowed yourself to be taken there. You are only responsible for your own actions. People will say and do things and disrespect you to whatever length they want to do, but you're allowed to walk away from that situation. You're allowed to respond with grace and wisdom. And if you feel like you're not being heard, you can simply walk away from it. Don't ever let anybody release words that you feel like later on I'm going to regret, because that's another thing for me. Because when I get reactive, I get angry. And when I get angry, I say things that are mean. You know, that after I even feel worse than if I had just walked away, right? So now I'm learning, like, not everything deserves my reaction, because I almost feel like some people out there actually love bringing you out of character. Some people out there, they almost say, oh, do you know what? I know how she is. She's so predictable. All I have to say is this, and she's going to move like this. So when you learn not to be reactive, you grow from that. You give yourself time and opportunity to think, do you know what? This doesn't need my energy, and I'm walking away from it. Number 3, you take boundaries personally. Because emotional immaturity can also show up in the way we deal with boundaries, the way we deal with people, right? And when people make boundaries, or they're telling you how they want to be treated, you need to take it as that's what that person wants and respect it. You almostly don't need to take it as a personal attack on you. For example, if you have somebody that tells you, do you know what, yeah, can you stop calling me at 10 or 11 p.m.? You don't have to take that as, oh, you don't want to talk to me. Or you don't have to take that as rejection. You just have to take it as what it is. Somebody has a boundary and you have to respect it. People that are emotionally immature, they see boundaries as a rejection. They see boundaries as, oh, I'm not getting what I want. They see boundaries as, oh, this person or that person, they think they're better than me. That's not it. When you're emotionally mature, you understand that people need boundaries. People need their own space. And sometimes someone doesn't have the emotional capacity for a conversation with you, and that's okay. I used to do this, right, where I feel like I am so overwhelmed, I am tired. And till now, I think sometimes I struggle just to tell someone, like, look, I can't be on the phone for long today because I'm really tired and I just want to rest. Because there's people around me that if I tell them that, they almost take it as an attack. They almost take it like, why do you want to rest? Why have you just thought about resting now when I'm on the phone? And what has that led me to do is now I simply don't pick up my phone. If I feel like if I'm explaining a boundary to you and I feel like you're emotionally mature, that you're not going to understand it, I just act accordingly, right? I've put a boundary. I've told you I'm tired, or don't call me after a certain time. If you keep doing that and crossing that boundary, it shows your maturity level. But for me, how do I respond? I have spoken about the boundary. I go ahead and input it, and I go ahead and act accordingly. I don't have to go back and forth with people that are like dedicated of misunderstanding what my boundaries are. Another sign that shows that you lack emotional maturity is you constantly need validation. This is one of the struggles that I've seen people struggling with. Needing validation, because I feel like sometimes it almost comes from comparison, right? Because it's almost like you rely on how other people sees you or perceive you for you to feel adequate in yourself. If you're emotionally mature, what people think about you or their opinions, it should never faze you. But if you're in a stage where you feel like, oh, I need to accomplish this and post this and see what they think, you will always be a slave in people's heads, because half of the time people are not actually thinking about you the way you think they are. Sometimes you need people to tell you that you're attractive. You need people to say, oh my God, you're on the right path. You need people to say, oh, you've started doing your content creation journey. I'm so proud of you. This is amazing. You need people to tell you like, oh, you bought this car. You should have got the other car instead. It's almost like you're often looking for people's validation and for people to give you praises. You are not secure in yourself. And if you're emotionally mature, you know that whatever I'm doing for myself, it's enough. And if it's not enough, I will work hard to get where I need to be. You might look at other people and think, oh, okay, they've done this, but look at them from a space of inspired, not from a space of, oh, I must get that so people can also look at me the way they look at that person. And sometimes piloting like this in life can be so exhausting. Because if your confidence always depends on external validation, you're always going to be vulnerable to other people's opinion, and you are never, ever, ever going to be happy. You are never, ever going to do something and for you to stand back and say, oh, do you know what? I'm proud of myself. You will never, ever be able to acknowledge the good that you have in your life. And the last tip, number 5, that shows that you're emotionally immature is you refuse to grow. And this might be the biggest one. You keep experiencing the same problems in life, but you never actually stop to ask yourself, why is this happening? You keep maybe getting into jobs, and after 3 months or 4 months, you've left the job and you've started another one. And maybe this pattern has happened for years. You keep getting in the same relationship, right? The same relationships with either partners who disrespect you or partners who abuse you financially or emotionally, or you keep making friends that are not of any value, and you don't sit back and think, why is this happening to me? Sometimes you need that self-reflection to actually understand, like, where do I need to learn, or where do I need to change? Where do I need to grow? One of the signs of emotional maturity is understanding and reflecting and having that self-awareness as a person. I've had to do this over the years because I used to have this issue with anger, right? I used to be an angry person, and thank you, Jesus, I'm learning, I'm growing from it. And I used to think, I react, I get angry, I say things. This is not a trait that I don't want. When does it come to a point where I stop and I think, Primrose, what are you going to do about this? And I had to sit down with myself and say, you know what? I don't like this ugly behavior that I have about myself. I don't like this trait. So how am I going to change about it? Identify the problem, maybe pray about it, maybe get some therapy, whatever it is, I needed to grow. And being able to hold yourself accountable when you do something, being able to look at yourself and say, you know what, I've messed up here. There is areas in my life I need to change. That shows so much maturity in a person than a person that just continues to do the same thing over and over again. So remember, emotional maturity is a journey. It takes time. It's a journey of self-awareness. It's a journey of holding yourself accountable. It's a journey of understanding boundaries and respecting that. It's a journey of literally looking at yourself and thinking, you know what, I want something better for myself. I want to change my life for the better. Because we are all constantly growing. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, these are some things that I've been working over, or I'm in my 30s or 40s or even older, and I feel like, I've always been like this. You can change. You can change from who you were yesterday to be a different person. I always tell to people, the Primrose that you know in her 20s is no longer the same Primrose, or the Primrose that you knew a year ago has changed, because a year ago I lost my sister to suicide, and since then my mindset and my mental health is different. The way I do things is different. The way I talk, the way I look at life is different, because that's what happens when you grow. That's what happens when you sit down and evaluate your life and your life decisions. So remember, there will be moments where you might overreact. There will be moments where you might get defensive. And there'll be moments where maybe your emotions might get the best out of you. But the difference is an emotionally mature person can simply come back and say, I didn't handle that well. You can simply go and apologize to people when you offend them. You can reflect, you can learn, you can try again. Even when you make mistakes, it's okay to try again. If you're emotionally mature, you know what, I'm gonna make mistakes, but I have to try again and be better. And if you're on a journey of self-growth, remember that becoming emotionally mature, it doesn't mean becoming emotionless, right? You can be sensitive and still be a strong person. You can be a kind person but still have boundaries so that people don't disrespect you. You can simply be confident but not arrogant. There's a difference. You can have faith, but whilst you're also doing your personal work, your personal growth on yourself. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And remember, growth is not about being perfect. It's simply about recognizing the areas of your life that you want to change and putting in the work. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and I'll definitely see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.